Hey everyone, Dan here, and this is a completely unscheduled live broadcast this morning for, well, talk about a few things, but mainly we're here to hype karma. And if you're not aware of karma, I don't know how you're not aware of it because I've been hyping the hell out of this thing for, well, days now. Karma is my new Kickstarter. It is well, it's a uh, erotic romantic graphic novel. And I should probably pull up and let you guys see the campaign. Let's see, share screen. I can do this. Yep, there it is. All right, so this is Karma. This is this wild idea I came up with, and um, actually, Nick Barucci from Dynamite approached me, asked me if I had any ideas to do kind of a slice of life erotic romantic story. And I have always been one to say, yeah, I can do any kind of story you want. Just give me the opportunity. So when Nick pitched this idea, I said, yeah, I'd be happy to. Now, I know some of you guys may not be that aware of my work. Some of you probably just know me from doing my shows. You know, um, that could just be all you know me from doing the Dan Wickline show, or maybe my latest thing. Let's see, what's my latest? I got some work here on the desk here. The Freeze. Do you guys remember The Freeze? Phil Sevy and I did this great book over at Top Cow. It's out now as a collected trade. A post-apocalyptic story when there's no apocalypse. So that's what I normally do. I do comic books. I've done a lot of comic books in my life. You guys remember Sinbad? That was one of the earliest ones I did. Sinbad over for Zenoscope. Also, I've done 30 Days a Night. I've done Shadowhawk, um, Strange Cases with Steve Niles, Savage. I've written Grim Fairy Tales and Tales of Wonderland and Tales of Oz and Tales of Neverland. I have done a lot of books over the years. I've also done novels, if you're not aware of that. I have my own novel series, the Lucius Fogg series. There's 3 books in this set. They're available on Amazon. I've also done novels for Dynamite Books, and that's including military fiction, SEAL Team 6 No More, number 13. I did a Vampirella story for them. This is Vampirella, the Blood Dragon. Takes her to Hong Kong and introduces a new heroine. We've also got the origin story of the character of Purgatory in Purgatory Chaos Rising. And I did an adaptation of The Boys. So, as you can probably tell, I've got, some interesting background when it comes to stories. But I've also got a background as a photographer. And I have quite a few photography books. I've got a couple here. These are available also on Amazon. I also did a book called Private Skin for a company called Goliath back in the early 2000s. So I'm a published photographer and writer. So when it came time to come up with a story for Karma, I thought, what if I combined those two things? What if I took, I'm going to write the story, I'm going to tell the story, a love story, but I'm going to take some of those moments from being a photographer and pull them into this world. Now, this isn't a biography. This isn't, my story, but there are some interesting beats from my life. I've had a lot of weird things happen in my life. Just to give you some of the weird ones, I've been a dead body on Dexter. I bodyguarded for Clive Barker for 2 weekends when he was doing Marvel Comics. I have stood at a convention next to Gene Simmons and talk about why one particular artist needed to have a firecracker put up his butt. I have had phone calls with Andrew Divoff, who played the Wishmaster, which is very strange. My wife freaked out back when he called years ago, and she recognized his voice. She's like, "Why the hell is the Wishmaster calling you?" I've done a lot of strange things. I've been on the sets of pornos. I've been uh, in. I've had strange conversations with models while shooting with them. It's it's a very weird world, and I pull from those weird experiences, those different experiences, to put together karma. Now, as you can see right now, we are at what looks to be a great number. $39,000 is really impressive for a Kickstarter. But I know what some of the things we're doing for it, the different covers, the fact that it's a graphic novel. You know, we really want to get higher. We need to push so that we can do more karma stories and more stories like this. I should probably tell you some of the interesting things in there. I shared this story the other day, but there is a model named India Summer. She's an actress, and she, while I was on the set of the Supergirl porn parody, she was coming into the kitchen area where I was sitting. I got tired of watching all the filming. It really does get kind of boring on a set of an adult film. It's kind of strange, and it sounds a lot like a zombie invasion. But she's coming into this kitchen, and she's done up and she's got these super high heels on. And as she walks in, she hits on the marble floor. There's these grout lines, and she hits one of the grout lines, stumbles, and starts to fall. Now I'm on a swivel bar stool, and I see this happening. So I swing around, snake my arm around her, catch her, and bring her up into me to keep her from falling so she can get her balance. Well, I do this, and she comes up, and then there's that moment where she kind of lingers, you know? She doesn't immediately, oh, thank you, and go about her business. It's a nice little moment. And she ended up later on, they were asking everybody for their keys so they could move cars. We had way too many cars parked by this house, and we needed to move some to get others out. And everybody was asked for their keys, and she walked up, and instead of giving her keys to the assistant director or whatever who was asking for them, she hands them to me and says, "Can you make sure my car gets moved and my keys get back to me? You're the only one here I trust." Now, I've only met her about an hour and a half or 2 hours before that, but she has to go do her thing. And so that was interesting. And that moment, I borrowed that moment for something that happens in karma. And there's other stuff that happened as well. There's other little moments that that pop up that are from real life things. Or I have a very good friend named Rhiannon who, you know, was in the modeling industry and the adult industry, and I would go down and I would visit her, and invariably at some point she would end up naked. And it's not because we were dating or romantically involved. It was just this very open, honest world that she lived in, this open, where nudity isn't anything. So, and usually what would happen is we'd be hanging out, and then it's like, okay, well, let's go out and get dinner. Okay. And then she'd need to grab a shower. But while I'm there, she didn't want to just leave me sitting by myself in her apartment while she's taking a shower. And, and she wants company anyway. So next thing you know, I'm sitting in the bathroom while she's taking a shower, chatting with her just so, to keep her company. And things like that happened all the time. It's just that kind of thing, that kind of industry. So when I was writing this story, I wanted to take a character. This is Alex, who is very straightforward. He's a very straight-laced kind of guy. I mean, he's not, he's not boring or anything like that, but he's common. He's your average guy. He goes to baseball games. He drives a truck. He, goes to work every day, and he's an advertising photographer. So his job is to know the secrets that when you want to take a picture of an ice cream sundae, instead of using ice cream, you use mashed potatoes so they don't melt. But you get the same look. He has to know how to light a perfume bottle or a car and those kind of things. Well, he gets asked from a friend of his who's also a photographer, but this friend who's a model photographer, to fill in for him on a project having to do with this up-and-coming supermodel named Karma. And she is just really an amazing character. So it's really fascinating to have, she's very open and very honest, but she wants to make herself more of a brand than than just a model. She wants to make herself big, and she wants to be the next supermodel, which, ambitious wise, it makes a lot of sense. Well, she's tired of some of the and you can see it's an erotic graphic novel, so there's some nudity, there's some really interesting moments in it. And again, a lot of these are pulled from shoots I did, situations I did working with someone who is a shibari expert. If you don't know what shibari is, it's basically Japanese rope bondage. Or going to a club and, just different things that have happened to me in odd ways. Here's another fun story that is kind of the emphasis for the nightclub scene. I was in Vegas many, many, many years ago with a buddy of mine for his bachelor party, and was not feeling well. I was just sick as a dog that day. And as I'm, helping him, and it's a bunch of us, but the bachelor is drunk, and we've got him almost like Weekend at Bernie's style, just kind of carrying him from one place to the next to the next. We get into the Club Rio, which is, of course, in the Rio Hotel. And it's just a happening place. I mean, there's people all over. They're dancing like crazy. And again, I'm not feeling well. I've spent the whole weekend either, sitting at a slot machine or going upstairs and laying down. That's about as much as I've done. And now I'm out, dinner with everybody and then going to the club. And mainly I'm only there to kind of keep an eye on this guy who's drunk off his ass while everybody else has fun. And I'm sitting there and I'm behind everybody. I'm literally behind my brother and all these other people. And this redhead from about the other side of the dance floor locks eyes on me, makes her way through, ignoring everybody else, comes by, grabs my hand, and pulls me out to the dance floor. Not saying a word, not talking, nothing. Just comes out, grabs me, pulls me out to the dance floor. So I'm like, okay. And I'm single at the time. It didn't matter, but I'm out there and I'm dancing. And another one of her friends comes up and starts dancing with us as well. And it's a very fun little dance. They're definitely enjoying themselves. And I end up dancing with them for quite a bit. But then it just gets to the point where I got to go. I'm not feeling well. I got to go back upstairs and lay down. And, hey, Jay, how you doing? Good to see you, sir. So we get out, so I dance with them for a while, but then I got to go. So I head back upstairs and I'm laying down and I'm trying to get some rest. And, I find out later that, she came up again trying to get see what happened to me and stuff like that. But, never found her again. It was just this one really odd moment in life. Um, Another fun one, and this involves the friend I was talking about earlier, went to the worst convention ever. It was called the Extrusion. It was in Las Vegas. It was a one-time con that insisted it was the next San Diego Comic-Con. They were going to make it work. It was big as hell. And they invited all these people, and Marvel was going to be there, and DC was going to be there. And no. Marvel sent some people with inspirational posters. You know, those hang in there posters, and or those pictures with the quote underneath, the inspirational quote. They had done a bunch of those using the Marvel characters. So that was Marvel's big display, were these things. There was hardly any attendees. There was hardly anybody. I think maybe we sold 3 or 4 books the entire weekend. But my friend had come up who used to live in Vegas, and another friend of hers hooked up with us. And the two of them had bought Halloween costumes. One was a cop and one was a criminal. You know, the typical striped pin suit thing. And they had bought children's sizes on purpose and stretched these things over themselves, and were planning to go out and hit Vegas Halloween night, because this was on a Halloween weekend, and this was Halloween night. And they had told me, or she had told me their plan before we left, and said, well, you need a costume. And I'm like, I don't have a costume, especially not at the last minute. And I'm a big guy, so finding a costume is not easy. But what I had was, and this may be dating myself, but do you guys remember pets.com? Was it pets.com? Yeah. Where they had that little sock puppet mascot. He had a little microphone, and it was just a sock puppet dog. Well, I had that. I bought it at Spencer's years before. So I decide, well, that's going to be my costume. I'm going to use the sock puppet. Well, 2 interesting things happened while we were out, besides the fact that I'm running around with an ex-adult film star and her model friend through the streets of Vegas and different clubs on Halloween night where everybody's in costume. But at one point, I'm using the sock puppet, and I'm being a smart ass with the sock puppet because it seems to kind of go in character. And some guy doesn't like the way the sock puppet's talking. He thinks it's talking smack, and he gets insulted. And of course, I'm playing along thinking this guy's joking. So I say a few things to him back and forth. He then starts screaming at the sock puppet that he's going to kick its ass and he wants to fight. And I drop the act, and I'm like, dude, you got to relax, man. It's no big, it's just joking. I'm sorry. He turns to me, and I swear to you, he looks at me and says, stay out of this. This is between me and him. And he points at the sock puppet on my hand. Yeah. Sock puppet almost got into a fight. And then later on, a woman came up to me and started flirting with me. And took me a while to realize she thought I was the guy who did the pets.com commercials. She thought that the guy who voiced the commercials would take the sock puppet out and hit the convention circuit. And I'm not sure why, but yeah, so spending an evening with a sock puppet in my hand almost got me in a fight and almost got me laid. It's a strange, strange world. So, but these are the type of things that gets me, that I use as kind of the emphasis for karma. Now, I'm showing some of the covers here, but I think we need better looks at them. Let's see, I should have them. Like this cover here, the Stepan Sejic cover. Wait, that should have switched, but it's not. Let me see if I can do that. Share screen. Let's go screen 2. All right, that's a little better. So this is the Stepan Sejic cover. Stepan's kind of the king of this genre, the whole erotic romantic graphic novel. His book Sunstone and the new one Fine Print, they're some of the best sellers. I know Top Cow these are the Sunstone books are the best seller at Top Cow, hands down. Matt Hawkins will happily tell you that. And I think he happily told Nick Barucci that, and that's how I ended up doing this book. Well, Nick really wanted Stepan to do a cover. I've worked with Stepan in the past. He did a cover for Sinbad back when I was doing that book. Do I have that cover in here? That's a good question. It was one of the early covers, and there it is. Let me pull myself back up here. Hang on. That there, over here, is Stepan Sejic cover. So, again, not the first time he and I have worked together. I've also worked with his wife on Tales of Honor, which was a book I did over at Top Cow with Matt Hawkins and Linda Sejic did the art, and it was based on the Honor Harrington series. So getting Stepan to do the cover was a big thing for us. And I'm really jazzed that he accepted and that he did it. But, look at we'll zoom in a little bit on that. Look at the textures on the gloves there. That is just so cool. Yeah. And I mean, his faces and stuff, the emotional things he gets from faces and stuff is so amazing. And that is just such a pretty look and pretty woman. So that's Stepan. We also got Mirka Andolfo. Where is the Mirka picture? There it is. Mirka, who is doing the book Sweet Paprika right now, which is another phenomenal book in this genre. So having her on the cover on a cover also is so freaking cool. I mean, again, you look at these, just the whole layout, the design. Now, this is very reminiscent of an important scene in the book where Alex goes and shoots with Karma the first time. And, you can see that she just really nailed the whole look and the design of it. So thanks to both of them. And then Michael D. Pascal did the third cover. And Michael and I worked together on a backup story for the Avatar book, God is Dead. We did the last 8 issues of God is Dead as the backup story and really, really liked his work. So when it came time for a cover, I suggested Michael. And he's also done a naughty version of this cover, which, if that's your thing, you want to grab it. It's one of the best selling. So, Stepan's is probably the top seller, with Michael's number 2, with the naughty one getting a lot of the attention. Now, sorry about that. I got to turn my phone off. I'll let that go to voicemail. All right. Yes, The Mandalorian is my theme song, or my jam. But yeah, so Michael did this cover, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And again, the theme of, by the water. I think I have do I have any of the images from the actual? Yeah, this is from Carlos Reno's artwork inside the book of that scene. So you can get a feel for it. And just so you know that, and these are little, the shoot itself I've done a lot of shoots. I've worked with a lot of models, but it was very reminiscent of a shoot I did with a model named Kimberly Jane. And I'll show you one of the images I shot with Kimberly. So this is a little bit of the inspiration. There's a few different. Karma is a combination of a few different women I know. Some models, some from my personal life, but they're all just larger than life and amazing women. And just I've pulled together, like I said, it's various models. Kimberly may be the closest in look to Karma. Here's another shot. We've been talking about maybe doing these as like trading cards or prints if we can get a little higher up. Right now, we're, let's see, let's go back to the Kickstarter itself. Right now, we are close to 40,000, and that is our next stretch goal is 40,000. So if we can get over that, then I think the prints are going to be next, or we're talking about maybe a hardcover. So we got a lot of stuff still planned for the last 6 days, but we just got to get that extra push going, you know? And that's why I'm doing the live thing, is trying to get a few more people to know about the book. You can find it. It's technically a Dynamite book, though I do have a co-ownership on it. But we funded quickly. And we were growing like crazy. And then just now, it just kind of slowed down just a little bit. So that's why I'm up here. And I'm going to probably be up here quite a bit over the next 6 days, which I apologize if you find this annoying. But I am horrible at self-promotion, and I am doing my best to really get this book some attention that it deserves. The people who've read it have really liked it because it's not just about the eroticism. There is a real important love story going on. The connection between the two. There's some real intimate and tender moments between the characters. There's betrayal. It is a true romance. And this genre is coming back. More and more companies are doing books like this because there's an audience for it. You know, think about stuff like Outlander. You know, or True Blood, stuff like that. That's kind of this genre. So you've got the romance, you've got the eroticism, you got a little bit of action, you got a lot going on. That's what Karma is. Karma is a slice of life book, but, you know, with a lot of realism to it. So now, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. You can jump in chat and let me know what you think. Also, if you're following my Friday Conneries, which I do every Friday, I just posted the one for The Rock and some of the behind-the-scenes stuff on that, including how Sean Connery kept backing up not Jerry Bruckheimer, Michael Bay. Every time Michael Bay would be in trouble with the Disney execs, Sean Connery would just kind of show up and sit in on the meetings so they wouldn't yell as much, and he'd tell them to leave Michael Bay alone because he's doing a good job. So I do write-ups like that every Friday. I do every Friday for Sean Connery. I do one on Monday for Michael Caine. And then on Wednesdays, I do an art spotlight on some of the classic artists from the comic industry. They're just fun things on my Facebook page. If you're not following me on Facebook, you should. Like if you're watching this on YouTube or on Twitch. Now, if you're on Facebook, you should be following me on YouTube and Twitch. And everywhere I'm either Dan Wickline or Dan Wick 70. So those are the two ways. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Twitch. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on YouTube and Facebook. And I think I have a live journal out there. I don't have a TikTok, and I'm not sure. I think I'm too old for a TikTok. I think there's probably It's probably an age requirement where they tell you to put in your birthday. And that, I just assume it maybe because, TikTok is a young man's game. And I'm not young anymore. There's no dancing at clubs with hot redheads for me anymore. So, which is a shame because I do like a good hot redhead or a brunette or a blonde. All right. So, have you checked out the Kickstarter yet? Yeah, like I said, we got a lot of great stuff coming up with the Kickstarter, and there's more stories for me to tell. I really want to explore these characters more. This first graphic novel is them coming together, and that is an important part of the story. But in like a lot of things in life, just getting started is only part of the story. It's like being a comic writer or a photographer or any of these other creative fields. Getting your break is only the first step. Staying in the industry is the next part. Well, with a relationship, just coming together and, oh, thanks, Dan. I appreciate it, man. Just getting together and starting a relationship is the easy part. Getting to know each other, getting comfortable. It's when you've been together a while that it starts to get more interesting, and you find the ways to keep things fresh. That's the story that I want to continue talking about. When they start having to deal with the real world issues of, stuff like just living together and sharing space and not having we can all be on our best behavior on a date, but when the date doesn't end, when they're with you all the time, eventually, your best behavior has to become your normal behavior, and you've got to meld together. And those are things in relationships that you don't get a chance to really follow. We usually get that beginning of, the movie is always the beginning of a relationship, or the end of a relationship. We've seen that before too, but being able to follow a couple with this diverse of a background in such a unique world, I think could be a lot of fun to keep going and telling more and more stories. At least do like kind of a big 3 graphic novel arc, more if possible. But there's a lot more to tell with this story. So that's why, you look in 30, we went up a little bit more, 39,780. That is an amazing number. That is better than I could have hoped. But I also know, talking to, like I said, Dynamite and stuff, they'd like to go a little higher. That's, they are hoping to get closer to, say, 50, because that allows us to do a lot more things. The potential of a hardcover copy, stuff like that. But we got to keep pushing through. And I've never done a Kickstarter before. This is my first. I'm not sure what the normal pattern is, but what the best way to promote a book, especially when you've got a book like this. If I was doing a superhero book, if it was a big Dark Knight style graphic novel where the hero is up against this insane villain, and I'd probably be picked up by most of the major comic sites. But as soon as you use the word erotic and romance, suddenly you're not getting the attention on a lot of sites. You're not popping up on all the podcasts and stuff like that, because they think their market is superheroes. They think it's horror or action. And there's an audience out there for these books. And like I said, Sunstone, Swing, Sweet Paprika, there's so many great books that are doing this style of stuff that have an audience, but nobody's really catering to them. There's no you don't see Bleeding Cool doing a lot of stories about that, or you don't see Newsarama or comicbook.com. They're not doing a lot of stories. And the ones that get the attention on the bigger stage, they're not really, when it pops up on Variety, no. Sunstone is one of the best-selling graphic novels out there. You don't see it popping up on Variety or Deadline or anything like that. The only way this type of book would show up on Deadline or Variety is if suddenly it got optioned. By the way, if you want to option this, give me a call. This would make a very good movie. This would be like the 50 Shades of Grey type level, but good. So I'm dogging on 50 Shades of Grey, but that is a hugely popular book. Doesn't mean it's good, but it means it's hugely popular. There is some major issues with the writing on it, but so writing this book was interesting. Approaching this kind of a story is unique, because if I'm doing a murder mystery or if I'm doing a horror story, I know roughly the story I'm telling. I know the beats I want to do, and I can sit down and go, okay, I'm going to block this out scene by scene. And usually I do it over a 22-page script. This was sitting down to write 100. Originally, it was supposed to be 125. They told me that I could do up to 125 pages. I ended up doing 120 because that's how it worked out. But I sat down and figured out scenes, and just went, well, these are my major scenes. And then I did some filler scenes for character and for building the romance between the two of them. And character moments where they're a nice addition to an action story. Character moments are the main things in this kind of story. So you have to have I need them to meet. I need to intro them. I need them to meet. I need a best friend for each of them so that they can talk about their relationship. There were certain things I had to figure out as I was writing it. And I had to have different moments to bring them together that would make them closer. You can't just throw them in. Well, you probably could throw them into sex in the beginning if you want, but I think you kind of need to build up to that. So that's kind of the pace this went at. It started off with them meeting on a work set. Then afterwards, possibly talking about additional work, then into a fun situation, then another work situation that leads into romance. And it kind of builds that way. And then when you sit down, you're working on the script, it's you try to pace those things out, but at the same time, you got to find the chemistry between the two characters. And a lot of times that only happens once you start writing. Once you sit down and you try to come up with the character in your mind. And like I said, Karma is kind of a combination of a few different women I know. In some areas, more of one person. In other areas, more of somebody else type of thing. And I merged them together into this character where Alex is a combination of, I think a lot of it is how I wish I was sometimes. Your better angels, how you see yourself, and also just, and there's little dashes of things in there. I borrow from The Princess Bride. I borrow from different places, different characters to kind of merge this guy together too. And then once I had them, I just started putting them in scenes together. And that dictated a lot of what happened going forward. I knew the basic story beats I wanted to hit. I knew that I wanted there to be a betrayal. I knew I wanted there to be, at one point there was actual physical confrontation, which my editor on the book, Joseph Rybant, came back to me. And that was one of the things he's like, I don't think we need this. I think we're better off without that. And I did find a better way to do it that's more in with the tone of the book. So, for a minute there, I kind of went back to my action roots, but realized I was maybe going the wrong way there. But so writing this, as much as I knew the major beats I wanted to hit, writing the characters, having them spend time together, getting to know each other, and stuff like that became the important part of the story, and it would shift things around going forward. And it's similar to how I write other things, in that I come up with the situations and I let the characters kind of guide themselves through it. But in this case, it became more important. It became crucial for them to be who I thought they were, be who in my mind they'd become. So there are little moments that I hadn't planned on in the script that came out naturally because of these characters allowing them to be themselves while writing. So I'm really fascinated to continue the story forward. I want to see where these two go next, because I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to throw more situations at them, more real world things they have to deal with, and see how they work it out as a couple. It's kind of the fun of this book. And, there's going to be elements that everybody recognizes from their own world, things that happen to them. And then there's going to be these really bizarre moments, that stranger than fiction moments, like I said, that I've had quite a few of in my life. So pulling those things together and having this ongoing relationship in this story, I really want to be able to do more stories, and again, that comes into play with the total. If I can get you guys to give it a shot, to back it, there's a digital option. You can get any one of the covers. Look at some of these things we got. You can just back it to back it, which I've never understood. Oh, thank you, Jamal. You can just back it to back it, which I've never quite understood. But then you get stuff like, okay, here's the Stepan Sejic cover. You can get that by itself. You can get the Michael D. Pascal cover. You could get the Mirka Andolfo cover. You could get a digital copy of it. If you're someone who doesn't want to pay for shipping, or you just prefer reading digitally, you can get a digital copy of it. Then we have the naughty cover, or the nude cover by Pascal, which is, again, 223 people have clicked on that one. We have a set of prints. If you just like the pretty pictures, you don't care about the story, not going to be offended. If you decide to go with the prints, I think that's a good choice. But you do get... I'm sorry. That's actually you get a novel and the digital print together. So you get the Stepan Sejic cover along with the digital copy. I didn't realize they had added that one. There we go. The Virgin Art Litho set. That's what I was talking about. So if you just want those covers on prints without all the trade dress and stuff, you can get those. And, hey, that's cool to me. There's also, I laugh about this one. You can get me to sign your book for you. I'm not sure I'm worth that much more with my signature, but cool. You can get all 4 covers together at a cheaper price than buying them individually. Because I think they're $25 each individually. You can get all 4 for $80. So that's a little above buying 3 of them, getting the 4th one free, including the nude cover. There's also a retailer level cover. So if you're a retailer out there and you want to get them for resale, oh wow! See, I didn't even see that one. This just got announced. So at $42,500, all the soft covers are being upgraded to hard covers. So now, if you're already a backer and you have a soft cover version, you're going to get a hardcover instead. And that's at just what, $42,500? So we're close to $40,000 already. So another $2,500. That is, damn. That I didn't know they were doing that. I knew they had talked about a hardcover. I didn't realize it was going to be all. That is so cool. So yeah, because we're close to this one here. And then these are the trading cards they're doing. They're pulling some of the more interesting moments from the book and making trading cards out of them. They've done 3. This is a cool bondage splash. This is, well, you can probably guess what these 2 scenes are. There's a reason they're edited out. But yeah, so check out, but definitely this new Kickstarter, this new achievement or stretch goal, that is awesome. Yeah, so again, you can get the graphic novels are now being bumped up, will be bumped up to hardcovers if we get to $42,500. So, if you've already backed, you got one of them, maybe get another one, maybe move up, maybe get the 4 set so that 4 hardcover graphic novels for $80. You can give them as gifts. You could, resell them. I mean, that's phenomenal. I didn't realize they were going to do that. I knew they were talking about a hardcover, but they didn't say that. And then I know there's also talk about prints, including the 2 images I showed earlier. The additional prints would be from my photography from back there, back when I was doing photography all the time. I've got a handful of photos that I pulled and sent to them, suggesting that these would work. So, and the one that I showed you would be one of them. So, as you can tell, I'm not on script here. I'm just talking about this book. If you have any questions, please jump into chat and I will answer them. Needless to say, this is not a book for kids. This is a book for, it's a book for everybody other than kids. There's a strong romance. There's a very strong female lead. It's it's sexy. It's fun. There's a lot of humor. There's a lot of tender moments. It's just a book I'm very proud of. And I'm hoping you'll click and give it a shot and, take a more in-depth look at the campaign. I was talking about at retail level. If you're a retailer and you want to carry these in your store, you can get 8 copies, which is 2 of each edition, for $100. That is an amazing deal. I mean, and now if we get it bumped up to hardcover, yeah. And then there's also what we call the total package, which is all 4 editions signed by me and the 4 virgin art lithos. So that's a huge package for $125. So you get all 4 covers signed and the 4 limited prints, plus all the stretch goal updates. So hardcovers if we get there, the different trading cards. That's a hell of a deal there. And so we got a lot of fun options there. And they did a really good job with the video for this. I should probably play that. Hi, I'm Dan Wickline, and you might know me from my works on The Adventures of Sinbad for Zenescope, or the 30 Days of Night series for IDW, the pulse-pounding action of Shadowhawk over at Image, or my recent post-apocalyptic tale The Freeze for Top Cow. Now, while I've written hundreds of stories in comics, novels, and screenplays, today I want to talk to you about one that's a little more personal for me. This is the adult-themed slice-of-life graphic novel Karma. Now, besides being a writer, I've been a published photographer for the last 20 years, and that has led me to some very interesting situations. And when given a chance to do a story that mixes romance, comedy, and eroticism, I decided to take some of those unique moments and sew them together with a story of two people from very different worlds, united in the desire to create beauty in art. Alex is an advertising photographer who wears jeans and t-shirts. He enjoys a good baseball game, and he drives a big truck. Karma is a model on the verge of stardom. She spends her nights at the most popular clubs wearing the absolute latest fashion, when she wears anything at all. Now, though their worlds are light years apart, when circumstances bring them together, sparks are going to fly. It's an erotic, romantic comedy that deals with everything from fetishism to photography to betrayal, all with the beautiful art of Carlos Reno and stunning covers by Stepan Sejic, Mirka Andolfo, and Michael Di Pascal. Now, this is my first Kickstarter campaign, and it's for a book I'm very proud of. So I hope you'll join me in the fun and sexy world of Karma. Yeah, that. Thank you, Jamal. Yeah, Carlos Reno is fabulous. His artwork is amazing, and I remember doing the script and then having them start to send me some of the interior pages, and I was literally blown away, because it's like, I don't need that open anymore. I just didn't expect it to be quite as good. I mean, you look at this page right here, this panel at the bottom. I mean, that is just stunning to me. That is just a great shot, and I've used that on some ads and stuff to hype this book. You know, because I think Carlos is fantastic. He does really, really good work. And more people should be, you know, he should be getting more and more work. You know, I'm surprised that he's not on some major Marvel books at this point. The guy is fantastic. So, all right. Anybody have any questions while I'm on? Anything you want to know about this? Again, this stretch goal edition just happened, and I think it's absolutely fabulous to think that all the books are going to go to hardcover and no extra cost, as long as we get to 42,500, which I think is a reasonable stretch goal, because, you know, when we were getting about $1,000 a day backing wise. We still got 6 days left. I think this is a very likely backer or goal, achievable goal. Let's go with that term, achievable goal. So, and as you can see, we've gone up a little bit. We're getting closer and closer to the 40,000 mark. Looks like maybe one retailer backing, or one of the all-in package would get us pretty much there. Maybe a couple graphic novel grabs. So please check this out. Trying to think if there's any other good stories I should tell before I wrap it up here. Like I said, I've done a lot of strange moments. Oh, this is a fun one. I was at a shoot in Phoenix, Arizona, or just outside of Arizona, probably more in Tempe. There is a photo, not a photo studio, a film set out there. It's an old Western film set. And they would do these group shoots out there. Well, a group shoot was basically where they bring in probably a dozen models and 40 to 50 photographers. And you go out in groups, and it's like, well, maybe it's, well, they try to make it a little more one-to-one, but there's usually a dozen models and maybe 2 dozen, 3 dozen photographers, and you go out and you're shooting with different models, and you end up working with all the models over a 2-3 day weekend. So I'm out there and I'm shooting, and I'm taking a break. I'm skipping one of my groups because I'm tired and it's hot out there. So I'm just hanging back at the main area, and this group of girls come up, and they've been they're there and they're sitting there having lunch or whatever, and they're all wearing leather pants, which seems like a really bad idea to be wearing leather pants in the hot sun. But sorry, Jamal, let me get your question here real quick. Do you plan to do more Kickstarters after? Will you move this over to Indiegogo like Tucci suggested? I will likely do more Kickstarters, being that this is my first. I'm getting a good feel for it. I have a couple other stories that I think would really do well in this formula. But I'm working with Dynamite on this project. So I want to see, like, doing more Karma. That's going to be kind of a discussion we'll have to have. Also, whether we go to Indie or not. I know they tend to go to Indiegogo afterwards, but I believe this will also be offered through Diamond and offered to retailers that way as well. So, but again, that's all still to be decided. Right now, we're just focused here on the Kickstarter. All right, let me finish. So I'm at this shoot, hot sun, 3 or 4 girls in black leather pants, which again, don't understand why they're in them. But they're sitting around, and when they get up, their backsides are all covered in dirt and dust because, it's the middle of the desert. Well, one of them comes over and is trying to brush it off. It's not really coming off. And I'm like, well, what you really need to do is use a little water, just rub it, get it off. And she turns around and goes, can you? And I've got a bottle of water. I'm like, okay. So I pour a little bit of water on her backside and start rubbing her off. And I finish, and another girl comes up, and I have to do that. And another girl, it's 4 girls later. And yeah, it's just one of those moments afterwards you go, did that really happen? Yeah, that really happened. So it's strange moments like that, But then there's strange moments where I'm like on the floor in a fake comic shop as they're filming an episode of Dexter, and I get to play a dead body. Or, I'm standing next to Clive Barker in a comic book shop trying to look as badass as I can because there was some interesting threats against it. Not threats, but interesting things that happened that Marvel wanted to avoid. Little things like that. And that's just some of the things that kind of inspire the story, is some of the weirder things that have happened. So I think I'm having some connection issues. We're having high winds here. So it looks like I'm fading in and out every once in a while. If I am, I'm sorry. But I'm probably going to wrap this up here because I think a good hour is probably good. I will come back on more times in the next 6 days as we push to get this book. But oh, look at that. Look at that. We are $5 from the stretch goal. $5. That's it. So again, have you checked out the Karma Kickstarter yet? I put the link higher up, but for some reason it doesn't go onto Facebook when I do that. So I will put the link on the Facebook into this chat on Facebook as soon as I'm done here. But again, we're just $5 away from the first stretch goal, and then the hardcover stretch goal, which is really not that far of a stretch goal for $2,500. So we're at $2,505. All of these become hardcover. So $5 more unlocks the current stretch goal, which is the third trading card. Very close. And again, it's a very sexy scene. If you like sexy trading cards, this is for you. So, but we're very close on that. I'm very excited to see that. And again, if you haven't picked your cover yet, you can get the Stepan Sejic one here, the Mirka Andolfo, or one of the two Michael D. Pascal's. As you can tell by the black bar, this is the naughty edition. So you got lots to choose from there. Three different covers, one with a variant. And of course, the interior art by Carlos Renaud, who is just stunning artwork. And it is such a fun book. I've had a couple friends of mine read it, and all of them have come back and told me that, wow, this is a really strong story. And I think that's the key. You can put a lot of nudity and eroticism and stuff into a book. If it doesn't have a good story, then it's just a picture book. It's just dirty pictures. Not dirty pictures, but you know what I mean. So this is a love story, and we're getting really close. Like I said, just $5 more. So, somebody out there hasn't backed it yet, but is thinking about it. Now's the time to jump in. Put us over that 40,000 goal mark, and hopefully we'll keep going. We'll get to the next stretch goal. Get hard covers for everybody. I'm getting really excited about it. And again, if you see this video and you have questions, go ahead and post the questions. And then when I do the next live one, which may be tonight or tomorrow, but I'm going to do more of these live things over the weekend and early next week until the campaign ends, and just try to keep this going, because I don't know how to beat the Facebook algorithms or the algorithms for YouTube, how to get more attention, how to get it popping up there. I've done the ads, I've done stuff like that. So people tell me that just going live, that coming on live and talking about the book and talking about the project is a good way to get more people looking at it and get more attention to it. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask in the comments below, and I'll check it before I do the next live one, and I'll answer them there. So again, please check out Karma. We're getting really close. Look at these great covers. Look at this amazing interior artwork. This scene alone, the bondage scene, is going to be so much fun. And again, some of the stuff's from real life. That's probably one of them. So, all right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. One last check. Again, just $5 away. $5 from the 40,000 stretch goal. So hopefully we'll hit that soon. We'll carry on and we'll keep going. I'll probably come back tonight and do another one. So if you guys have any questions, come back. We'll talk. If you want to know more about the writing process, I can show you some of the pages from the script. I can show you some of the pictures I had to put in the script. Okay, one last story. Doing this, there's a particular scene where there's toys introduced into the story. And I wanted to make sure that Carlos knew what I was speaking of specifically. So I had to go out and find images of these toys I wanted him to use in the art. So basically there's a point in the script where normal text, and all of a sudden, sex toys. Pictures of sex toys embedded into the script. it had to be really weird to see that, and especially for the editor. Poor Joe is probably sitting there going, okay. Oh, Lord, what is that? Jeez. Yeah. Then again, Joe might know. I don't know Joe that well, so he might be on top of it. But just a fun part of the script there. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Jamal, Dan, Jay, all you guys. Appreciate it. Please tell your friends about the project. I'm going to put the link in chat as soon as I get done. But tell your friends about it. Maybe share the link. I would appreciate it. We're getting really close. Again, $5 from the next stretch goal. And then the hardcover stretch goal is just $2,500 after that. So both fingers crossed that not only we get hardcovers, but we get more karma. So please and thank you. Have a great day, and we'll see you guys later tonight.